This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a very dark morning in South Africa here. This is your sunrise safari with a little addition added to it. We have started earlier today because we're droning. So, first things first, my name's Lauren, and on camera I do have David, and we're just going to quickly show you exactly what the FLIR camera looks like, and that is the thermal camera. So we're just panning off into the vegetation just now, and you'll get a little bit of an idea here of what it looks like on the camera. Now, nothing's standing out, nothing's hot here, it's just the looking into the vegetation, so you can see that it is all blue and grey. If there was an animal there, you would obviously be able to pick it up, as it would be a completely different colour. It would be hot, it would be warm, so you would most likely see oranges and yellows and pinks, depending on exactly what it was. So this is the tool that we're going to be using today. So Tristan, my drone commander, is going to put up the drone and guide us into different places where there could be a potential animal to see. So that is the plan for the morning. But for now, we will keep driving, of course, and you are welcome to send in your questions as usual using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter, or you can use it in the YouTube feeds. Yes, a lot of people are saying this is really cool, and indeed it is. It's very exciting. We don't know what we're going to see. I'm going to continue to drive ahead of this now, and of course I will have my spotlight on, and we're just going to drive really slowly and just see if we can see anything in the vegetation at the moment. Now, obviously, having a drone up like this is a huge benefit for us. It's non-invasive, and it will allow us to see potential things happening on the ground. So it's very exciting. We have this for an hour, and of course then normal sunrise drive will resume. So it's a very, very early start for us all here at Djuma. I think my alarm went snoozed a few times before I actually got up. So while we are driving and looking with our spotlight, we are going to send you over to the drone commander himself, Tristan.
Well, indeed, you are with us this morning. As you can see, we are taken to the sky with the thermal drone in order to try and see what nocturnal animals we can find. Now, we haven't found a nocturnal animal just yet, but there is one of Africa's most iconic animals right in the center of your frame. And this is basically the concept behind this drone being up at night, is that because it's quite cool in the mornings, is that the animals really shine and glow under the drone's kind of thermal footage, essentially, and it allows us to be able to pick up these little hot spots. And so the idea is that we're going to try and fly the drone as low and as slow as possible to try and see if we can pick up little hot spots and hopefully expose some of the nocturnal animals that we get out and about during the course of the night. And so hopefully we'll get something quite interesting. Now, we did just kind of stumble upon this giraffe as we were heading sort of eastwards in the hope that we might be able to find some lions that are actually roaring. So we'll try and see if we can help Lauren find those lions. We're going to head kind of in the eastern direction, and Lauren is on her way that side. And between the two of us, hopefully with the help of the drone, we will be able to find what we're looking for. But isn't it incredible to kind of see it opens up a whole new world to us? We're able to kind of see all of these kind of amazing things, to be able to see sort of these hot spots and kind of allow us to be out at times of the night where it's really difficult for us to find food, to find these animals, is really quite amazing. So we have this ability now to get out and to see things. Obviously when we track at night, it's very, very tricky, and you can't really see what you're doing. So this just really opens things up quite nicely. Now, for those of you who missed who I am, my name is Tristan. The legs that you're seeing on the bonnets over there is Sebastian, and he's busy flying the drone at the moment, and hopefully we will be successful in our endeavor to be able to find what we're looking for. Like I said, lots happening this morning, so we're probably got lots of things to try and kind of check. There's a few sort of impalas that are alarm calling behind us on quarantine. That could just be because of our presence at stationary on the sort of open clearing. They might think that there's a predator around, but also, like I say, the lions roaring to the east is definitely going to make us kind of head in that direction. But isn't it amazing to see the giraffe? You can actually even see the individual sort of spots on that giraffe, which is quite incredible. You'll often find the darker sections of a giraffe tend to glow a lot more than the lighter sections, and that's generally because of a higher concentration. And you can actually even see the little footprints. You see where it was standing and how it's heated up the ground. Isn't that incredible? So that's the residual heat from that giraffe standing has left those 4 little white spots that will fade as it kind of cools off a little bit. But that's absolutely incredible. The drone really is an amazing kind of thing, like I say, especially at this time of the day where tracking is very, very difficult. It allows us at least to get these unique views of animals and be able to help, like I say, Lauren and the rest of the team be able to find what they're looking for. But absolutely awesome to kind of see. Very, very cool. You can see, no doubt, that it's a giraffe. When things get a little bit smaller, it's a bit more tricky and you've got to spend a bit more time. But things like giraffe and elephants, well, they're probably the easiest to find with the drone and the easiest to probably kind of identify. The rest take a little bit more kind of time and a bit more sort of scrutiny in order to be able to see what's going on. Right. Now, I'm going to send the drone off eastwards. We're going to leave this giraffe alone. And while we go in search of these lions that have been making lots and lots of noise, let's send you back across to Lauren and see where she is at the moment.
So we are still bumbling along in the dark here. It's a very strange feeling driving along at this time in the morning. It's probably psychological because you know what time in the morning it is, but we're just driving very, very slowly, heading sort of northeast of the reserve, if you like. So I'll just need to speak to Tristan, standing by. Copy that. So yes, as I was saying, the primarily focus of this journey is, of course, to look for nocturnal animals. Now, there will be the likes of giraffes and elephants present. They, of course, are going to appear on the drone. However, our focus is to actually find and locate and search and ID the nocturnal animals. And that, of course, means the animals that come out at nighttime. So they are adapted for the dark, and they are the ones that, of course, will be active during the night. The daytime animals, that we call diurnal animals, will either be hiding or resting or sleeping or in a burrow. And of course, those are not the focus of the drone session today. So it's important that we do look for the nocturnal animals. And we did have a conversation about it last night. And actually, David wants to see an aardvark. I think I'm up there with you, David. I would absolutely love to see one of them too. The creatures that we don't really normally get to see because they come out at nighttime. So you are welcome to tell us using the hashtag what you would like to see. But of course, remember, it has to be a nocturnal animal. So it has to be a nighttime animal, not really the ones that are feeding and active during the day. Now, our big cats as well, of course. I'm just going to get the spotlight out again. They are mainly active at night time, so you can include them in your choice. Even although we see them during the day, most of them are primarily nocturnal hunters. So they use the night time to do most of their hunting. Lauren is wanting to see, you're going to have to repeat that, Stefan, something. Chameleon. Oh, that's an interesting one and probably a very difficult one to spot. A chameleon is obviously a reptile and very camouflage at most as well, but not sure the drone would pick that up. Okie doke. It looks like Tristan does have something, so let's see what's happening. Tristan, come in. So let's go over to him and see what's going on.
Right, now, how exciting is this? We were saying that we had Impala's alarm calling, and you can see that we've managed to find what's causing the alarm call. Now, that is a cat that is busy walking around. I think in all likelihood it is probably one of our leopards, just given the size of it, and also the fact that it's on its own like this. I mean, obviously it could be a lioness that's moving around. A male lion would be a lot bigger than that, but this looks very much like it is a leopard. My guess would be, considering we're on quarantine, that this should be potentially Hosanna that we've got moving around. So we're going to try and get Lauren into this sighting, which is very, very exciting. Right, now before we do that though, I'm just going to hold off speaking so that we can take this to a wider audience. Well, good morning everybody, and welcome to what can only be described as an epic way to start today. Now, you might be seeing that there is a picture that is in all kinds of funny colors, and well, that's because we are in a thermal image by the use of a drone. And basically what we're doing is we're trying to find animals at night, and you can see there we've got what looks like a leopard that is stalking impalas right in front of it. Now, we're going to try and get a vehicle in to be able to try and see if they can kind of see and confirm what we think. It looks very much like it is a leopard, but obviously it can be a lioness potentially. It's around that size of sort of an adult male leopard is what I would imagine it is. Now look, see it's stalking up towards those impalas. Isn't that amazing? Now, this is complete darkness for us at the moment, and so it's an ability for us to cut through the darkness and see what's going on. Now, I'm going to call Lauren, who's on the other vehicle, who's mobile and moving around. Lauren, come in.
Standing by.
Yeah, Lauren, if you can come to the southern side of quarantine, just close to the Philemon's Dip Road. Now, basically, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Tristan, and on the drone camera this morning is Sebastian. And basically how we found this animal is that it's a bit of technology mixed in with sort of our ears, because we heard some impala's alarm calling and we thought there might be something around, and then we sent the drone up, and the drone has this ability, like I say, to see in the dark when we can't. I can't see a single thing from where I'm sitting at all. It's dark around us, but yet the drone, you can see, you can make out those impalas and that leopard absolutely perfectly. And basically what's going to happen is that this leopard is hopefully going to try and use the cover that it's got to get closer to those impalas. Now, the problem that it has is that it's on a road. So the leopard is sitting on a road, and the impalas are on the junction of a road, and there's not really too many trees between them. You can see on the right of frame, that is a tree that is there, and there's not really too many of those between where the leopard is and the impalas. And so what he's doing at the moment, I say he because I'm just kind of going off size, it could very well be a female that is there, is trying to just use the edge of the grass as a bit of cover and slowly try and kind of worm his way closer and hope that these male impalas, which you can see every now and then kind of drop their heads and chase each other around, which is quite common for this time of the year, as you'll see that impalas often will try and kind of headbutt one another, and there's a lot of posturing that takes place as they go about their business. Now, if one of them decides to chase the other one and they make a mistake and run straight towards this leopard, well, then, like I say, I think it's a leopard. I mean, we obviously could be wrong, and it could be a lioness, but it would be absolutely amazing for that leopard. Now, I just want to find out exactly where Lauren is at the moment and how far she is from where we are. Lauren, what's your position? So we're just going to try and see.
Tristan, we're just making our way along that line now towards quarantine.
Okay, copy. Just keep coming, like I say, onto the southern side. If you're coming from the dam, just come up the middle road and then turn south past Ingers to the junction. I'll guide you in from there. Now, the interesting thing about this whole thing is that sometimes we send these drones up into the air and we have to cover quite a lot of ground, and we have to try and fly quite far. But this morning we've been very fortunate. That particular sighting, or where this leopard is really right next to us, which is just an absolute stroke of luck. We've managed to kind of find this leopard very, very close to where we're actually sitting at the moment, which is absolutely wonderful. Now remember, because we are coming to you guys live, that you can ask any questions. Just post them in the comment section below, and we'll try and answer as many as possible. But you can see when we kind of see these shapes, how we actually determine between sort of cat and antelope. You see the antelope has a very sort of upright stance to it, and obviously this neck that goes higher than the body with what looks like horns on top, whereas the cat itself, especially when it's moving, is a lot longer, and obviously the gait that it has is slightly different, and you can just make out the light kind of section of a long tail that comes out the back. So definitely a cat. It just depends, like I say, which one. It's quite tricky to kind of judge from size, but if you use the impalas as an example there, a lioness is a much bigger animal than an impala, that's for sure. And so for her, it will be, should be probably appear slightly larger. A male leopard, especially the male leopard that hangs around mostly in this area, which is Hosanna, well, he's a lot smaller than a lioness, and if you look in relation to that impala, it would make sense that it is him. But he's really kind of interested in these impalas, and why not? I suppose, you know, it's still dark for him, perfect conditions for him to be able to hunt. But how incredible is it that we can see both leopard and impalas right next to one another? Absolutely incredible. Technology really is amazing, and the nice thing about this is that there's no lights at all, and you can see neither animal is being affected by the drone. And neither of them has kind of moved off or anything like that. Now, I just want to double check still where Lauren is. She was on not too far away, and so we're going to hope that we can kind of see her coming into where we are. Lauren, what's your position?
Tristan, we're still on Gowrie Cut Line. We're just making our way there really slowly, well, as fast as we can.
Okay, yeah, if you just, like I say, just keep coming. Well, this animal is stalking impalas, so if you maybe just want to increase your speed a little bit to get you. So we're going to try to get Lauren in as quick as we can.
Tristan, is the animal you have spotty mobile
can't keep the drone up with its battery forever and ever, and so we're going to try and get her here as fast as possible. She's not very far away at the moment. In fact, from where we are, as the crow flies, she's quite close, but the roads kind of take her away slightly before she's going to get into where we are at the moment. But it's super exciting that we're able to kind of allow her to kind of come in and to show her where to go. It's an incredible thing to be able to kind of direct somebody in the night using an aerial sort of viewpoint to get her to where she needs to be. We're very lucky that this time it's right on a road, which is going to make life a lot easier for all of us. And Lauren's, on her vehicle, is armed with infrared and a FLIR thermal camera of her own, which is essentially what you see from this particular image of the drone is a thermal image, but on Lauren's vehicle, she's actually going to have one that is a little bit more powerful and a little bit more kind of clearer than what the drone is, and it allows us to actually see really nicely from the vehicles itself. So the nice thing about that is that even though this cat potentially is hunting and stalking, there is no kind of disturbance that's going to take place at all. They're going to be in complete darkness, much like us, which means it's not affecting either prey or predator, and it allows these animals to go about doing their business without any interruption at all. Now, you might hear a slight little buzz. That's from the drone itself. We're trying to fly it at a height where we don't disturb the animals at all. And like I say, you can see from the impalas that there really isn't any sort of disturbance amongst them. They're not trying to move off or anything like that. Now, I can actually see Lauren's lights coming slowly towards where we are. She's still quite far out, but I'm just going to check with her as to which way she's coming. Lauren, just confirm you're going to take the road that comes up towards Quarantine.
Are you getting any comms?
Lauren. Hopefully she can hear me. Right, now Lauren's unfortunately not getting my game drive radio, which is okay. We'll try and kind of fix that as we go along. I might just try and call her on the other radio channel that we've got. Lauren.
Come in.
So So we're going to try and see if she
Standing
can...
by.
There we go. She's got us on the other comms. Lauren, just come straight up onto quarantine. I see that you're close to the dam wall now. Just come up towards quarantine itself, and then when you see me, just head to my western side and head a little bit further west onto that western road that goes towards the bushbrack. So we're just going to try and direct Lauren around so she's on the leopard side.
Mobile or stationary, Trist?
At the moment, stationary, still watching a herd of impala, maybe sort of 50 meters from the impalas themselves. But what we're going to try and do is we're going to try and get Lauren in on the leopard side of the impalas, because what we don't want is we don't want her to be able to kind of chase the impalas towards the leopard and interfere. So we're going to try and get her around a little bit, and then she'll be able to kind of get onto the road itself, and she'll have a sort of view of the leopard and the impalas in front of her. Yeah, just keep coming up towards quarantine, and then, like I say, just come south from that middle link road, and then you'll kind of get my visual, and you need to head further west from where I am towards the road.
Copy that, we're almost there.
Right, so it sounds like Lauren's almost here. Like I said, I did see her lights in the distance. There's a little bit of a sort of valley, and she was just on the other side of the valley at the moment, which is easy enough. I mean, it's quite close to where we are, and so she should be with us really shortly, which is super exciting. But for me, it's an amazing thing to be able to see this, to have both predator and prey in one place, and to have this ability to be able to find these things during the course of the night. Because for us, a lot of the time, nighttime safari is pretty much a very difficult thing, because you would drive around with a spotlight and you would try and shine around a little bit, and you'd try and kind of spot eyes, and your field of view is hugely limited. But when you get technology like this, it just opens up a whole new world, and there's so many creatures that are out at night that we really don't see very often at all, and we don't see a lot of the activity of some of those animals like leopard or lions, because we just physically can't actually see what's happening. And so this really is exciting to be able to open up that world and to try and kind of find what's going on. But it is one of those kind of special things. Go ahead, Lauren.
We're on quarantine now. We're at that little link road in the middle, so we just drive south.
A-firm, just come south as though you're coming towards Inga's and Philemon's dip side, and then you should see my lights, and then just go to the west of where I am. So I'm just trying to see if I can see Lauren. I can't see her just yet, but she should be with us fairly shortly, which will be excellent. Once we can see her, it's going to be quite nice, because we'll be able to kind of guide her around us, like I say, and further to our west of where we are, and kind of get her in behind where this, what I think is a leopard. Like I say, I'm pretty sure it's a leopard, just given its size in relation to the impalas. That's what I would say, and I'm pretty sure that it is Hosanna. That would be my guess. I mean, it could be Tingana. It could obviously be one of the females, but female leopard would, I think, appear slightly smaller than that. Now I'm just trying to see if I can see where Lauren is. I don't see her lights just yet. Lauren, where exactly are you now?
We've just gone along that link road, so we're on the southern side of quarantine now. This way, right?
Okay, copy. Can you see where I am?
Yes, I can.
Okay, copy. I'm just going to ask Seb just to see if I can find you quickly. So we're just going to see if Seb can go around. There's some more impalas there. Now, that's between kind of where I think Lauren is at the moment and where Hosanna, or this leopard, is. Like I say, I don't actually know if it is him.
So we're driving really slowly along the southern side. Is the animal located on the northern side or the south?
No, the animal's on the southern side. Just keep coming. I've got your visual. Just keep coming on that road. If you just keep going straight on that road, you'll pick up the animal on the road. So there's Lauren. Isn't this amazing? You can actually see Lauren coming along the road, and so from here we're going to try and guide her to keep coming just dead straight along the road. And this is a particularly easy morning for us because the leopard itself has stayed on the road, which has made life incredibly easy. But she's still kind of moving slowly along, and you could actually be able to even see her and the cameraman on the car itself. You can see the two little white spots on the car. That's Lauren and David, so wave you two. You're on camera now, which is very, very cool. But she just needs to keep coming. All right, Lauren, at the junction there, just turn more towards Philemon's, and then you should get him on the road in front of you. So she's just going past the impalas now, and you can can see we're just going to try get it going to the left a little bit. There we go.
Copy that.
So she should start to see that leopard. Yeah, you should start to see the leopard on the road as you round the bend, going towards the four-way junction. Now you can see, look at the leopard, how the leopard is flatting on the road there. You can see how it's got its head down now, not sitting nearly as upright. Lauren, do you see it on the road there? Now we're just trying to get confirmation that Lauren can actually see this animal at the moment.
Copy
she
that.
should be able
Trust
to. I
me,
mean, she's
have
right
a
there. So
visual.
there we go. She's got, hopefully got the leopard as well as the impalas
Abby.
right in front of her.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Right, now we do need to bring the
side.
drone down because we've got no battery, unfortunately. So we're going to try and kind of come back to where we are and try and just land the drone, but
want me to
absolutely epic. And so what we're going to do is hand you over to Lauren
Just
while
in
we
front of
quickly
us
put
here.
the drone on the ground.
In front of the car. Hello, good morning. What do we have here? Okay, we have just managed to spot a leopard. Would you look at that? Look at the contrast of the animal next to the ground. Wow. Look at the face. You can see the face is very yellow. So this is much, much, much warmer than, of course, it is the rest of the body. Now from here, I'm not exactly able to tell you which leopard this is because we're looking at it from behind. I haven't got a proper visual on the animal's face. But you can see it's just sitting, staring very intently at the impala ahead. And you can see the impala here are also very, very warm and contrasting against the dark, cold background. Now, I haven't heard any alarm calls, so I don't feel that these impala are aware of his presence. Now, we have no artificial light on the leopard, so he's in complete darkness. We're just able to see him through two options. One, the FLIR, the thermal camera, which picks up his body heat. And we're actually able to also see him through IR, infrared. But we have no artificial light on the leopard. And I'm not 100% convinced these impala know that he is there. Now, this could potentially be Hosanna, but I really couldn't say from just looking behind the animal. I would need to see the face. Kyla's asking, do leopards hunt alone? And yes, they do. They're solitary animals, and they are actually opportunistic predators. If you just watch him closely here, he is looking very intent at the impala. They're completely different from lions. They hunt alone and not in prides and not with one another. The only time you will see a leopard really feeding with another would be a mother and her cubs. When the cubs are very young, as they start to get old, they will rarely not feed together so often, and then of course they won't feed together at all as the cub gets old enough to disperse. So the impalas are walking right in front of him on the road ahead. And you can see he's in that position where he's keeping his body, I believe it to be a male from what I can see in the thermal camera, keeping his body very close to the ground. And he looks like he could pounce any minute. It's hard to get an approximation of distance in the dark, but these animals are not far apart. Jacob's asking... Oh, he keeps moving ever so often. I need to keep my eyes on this. Jacob is asking, how do you think he'll go for the impala? Is that correct? Can you just let me know if I got that question completely right? The impala have changed their direction. They're now facing sort of almost north. Well, if that was a correct question, leopards rely solely on the element of surprise, but they need to be close enough to their prey. So from this angle, this looks very close, but I'm not sure it's close enough for Hosanna. Leopards kind of need their prey to be within 5 meters, which is about, well, over 15 feet. And of course, it's complete darkness here. We have no artificial lights on the leopard, so he requires that for the element of surprise. He relies on the ambush predation. Leopards are not built like, say, cheetahs or wild dogs, for example, the ones that continuously chase their prey and sort of exhaust them. They're built for relying on the element of surprise. The impala seem a bit... They're checking around them constantly, which impala do, but I think they're completely unaware of this leopard's presence. If impala do become aware of a predator, they tend to bark at the leopard. And I don't hear any barking. You can see the leopard's just staying completely stationary there. I think it's moved a muscle. And the impala are all looking in different directions. You see, normally when they do spot a predator like a leopard, they would all face the direction where they believe the threat is coming from, and they will bark. They will stand their ground, and that's their form of alarm calling. And that is not happening here, so it looks like this predator remains unseen. Now, as you can see, the leopard hasn't moved an inch. Paradise Girl is asking, do impala see good at night? They can see at night, but their eyes are not as well adapted at night as the leopards are. And of course, they will rely on other senses too. So impalas rely on their ears to hear what's going on around them, as well as a sense of smell. But they have very, very large eyes in comparison to the rest of their facial features. And this is normally a sign that an animal is more of a visual animal, and it does rely on their eyes. So of course impalas are much better at seeing during the day than they are at nighttime. So if he were to move and, say, possibly break a branch or crack a tree or something under his foot, they would definitely hear, and that would alert them, but they haven't seen him. And it's very, very difficult to gauge this, but I would say potentially they are about between 15 to 20 meters apart, maybe 20 meters apart, which is well over 60 feet. But it's very difficult to gauge for us as we're sitting in the dark here. And we're getting a bit of a obscured view just using the thermal camera. It's not so easy to say exactly how far apart they are, but there is distance between them. So it's definitely a male leopard we're dealing with here. It could potentially be Hosanna. It almost looks like one impala was staring right at him there. They can, of course, potentially hear my voice. They will hear my voice, so they'll be aware of that. They'll be aware of our presence here. We don't have any lights on them. They just don't seem aware of his presence. Faith is asking, do leopards normally take this long to hunt? Well, it all depends on the situation, to be honest. So, as I mentioned earlier, they rely really heavily solely on the element of surprise. So during the day, they're obviously quite camouflaged. They blend into their surroundings. But at night time, they rely on the darkness and on the fact that they can just jump on their unsuspecting prey. So this leopard's gone very flat on the ground here. You can see that. He's put his head down now. He's probably contemplating exactly how to play this situation out. The impala are not as close as he would probably like them to be. Now, what could happen here is that they could walk along this road. He's actually lying right next to a road here. On the flare camera, you can see some tire tracks. It is a road for vehicles, and the impala are obviously in a line up ahead. Now, impala are fast. They are fast, and they're constantly on alert. So, if he was to spring up into action, Faith, he could startle them, scare them, and they dart off into the bush and he could lose them. That's one potential way that it would go. So leopards do take a long time to hunt, I would say, because they need to wait till the conditions are completely right until they can jump out at their prey. And he's also got to get it right. Now, these impala have horns. I think you're actually able to see that as well, which means they're males. I'm not sure if they're all males. Let me double check. Yeah, they're all males. You can see the horns there. Now, if this was to go wrong, he could actually get a really bad injury. 4 is asking, do the impala know the leopard is there? I don't believe so. You can see that one of them, there are 2 of them in the middle there just grooming one another. Can you see that? Sort of allo grooming. One just cleaned the other one's neck and it was reciprocated. So this is they do this behavior when they're relaxed. So you can see they're still grooming. Those 2 in the middle are still grooming. Now, impala are quite nervous animals anyway. They're quite nervous in the fact that they're constantly on alert. They know that they could be ambushed at any point in time. It's not an easy life being an impala. So they're always looking around. There's at least always one head up when they're feeding. They're not feeding right now, but they are looking around, and of course they're grooming. So I really don't believe that they do know this cat is here. He's definitely contemplating what to do. But they're just not close enough, I think. It's a calculated decision. So if he calculates it wrong, the hunt goes wrong, and it's a failed attempt, or he could even abstain an injury. And if the hunt goes right, then obviously he gets a meal. It's all about calculation for this leopard. Nathan's asking, how far do they have to be? Well, normally it's actually quite close, so a leopard will most likely make a sort of ambush pounce, if you like, when the prey is within around 5 meters, or even 5 to 10 at the most, which is anywhere between 20 to 30 feet. Now, this distance between these 2 different species here is further than that. So we're really not sure what this leopard is going to do. It is a little bit tense here. The impala are unsuspecting. But thank you for joining us and sending your questions and comments, of course. We're going to stay here and see how this plays out, and you're welcome to continue watching if you just search SafariLive on YouTube. You're welcome to keep watching and follow exactly how this plays out. So of course we're still going to stay here for the moment. It is a precious moment to be out here in pitch black. It is so dark. And we're obviously just sitting here, and of course the leopard is just sitting off the side of the road with the impala up ahead. Now it looks like they could potentially be heading southeast, and looks like they could potentially go off into the vegetation there. Now this is a critical point. So if these impala move behind this, it's a really large bush and then a tree behind, which is in the pitch dark, so I'm not even able to tell you exactly how it looks over there. But yes, there we go, we've got the perfect view. If the impala go behind that, this could leave an opportunity for this leopard here to then stalk a little bit closer and get into a much better position behind that bush, and of course get a little bit closer. So I personally think that's what the leopard's waiting on, just the impala to move behind the bush to give him an opportunity to get a little bit closer. I really don't think it's going to move a muscle from the position that he is in. It's close, but it's not close enough. And it's dark, so within the next hour the sun will get lighter soon. So the leopard has to make the use of the dark as soon as possible. The impala are just not going into the bush. But they have edged closer, so the minute they do, I think he's going to move. Tingana is asking about the leopard's breakfast. Sorry, that made me laugh, Tingana. So indeed, this is exactly what this leopard is after breakfast. We don't know what he could have potentially have had throughout the night. He could have made a hunt earlier, but most likely not if he's potentially thinking about hunting these impala, and it would indeed be breakfast. He would most likely hoist it up the nearest sort of suitable tree and stash it there for the day. And obviously look after it, make sure it's kept away from those naughty hyenas that come around. So I often do wonder what leopards do the entire night. From, say, midnight onwards, I do wonder what they get up to. But they are active. They are active at night time. And we did hear lions roaring when we started to drive. Didn't seem like they were very close, but we could hear them. So there are lions around as well. So you have to take your chance, leopard. I feel like it is Hosanna, but I really don't want to say that for sure just by looking at his bottom. The impala are looking. You see that one in the middle is really looking in his direction, but they just don't appear to see him. Now we are on a slight slope, actually, not a massive slope, but maybe from the angle he's positioned himself and you're able to see the road slightly slopes there. Maybe they're just not able to see him at all. But they're unsure, aren't they? They're really not sure where to go. I think those two are still grooming one another. But they're not feeding, they're not occupied otherwise. They're probably hoping for the light to come up soon. I think it becomes much easier to be an impala when the sun comes up. Oh, the impala are moving off behind the bush. Let's just wait and see what happens once they go completely behind this. Oh, that last one's not going. Oh, they changed their mind. They really don't know where to go. Maybe they are suspecting they are being watched and something is around. That is also a potential. But for now, while we wait this out, let's go across to Tristan.
Well, wasn't that very cool to get Lauren into that Hosana sighting? I'm glad it was Hosana too. It means that our judgment of size and things like that is fantastic. I still haven't even seen the leopard, and it's sitting probably not even 80 meters from where we are at the moment, but we cannot see a single thing. Now, we've moved on. We're going to go try and see if we can stick to our original plan of trying to go and find those lions that were making a little bit of noise. But in the meantime, we've bumped into what you can see is a whole bunch of very bright spots that look on the ground, and they look almost as though they're like termite mounds, but that in fact is a herd of elephants that is having a sleep. So they are all lying down, the entire herd. And often we talk about elephants sleeping, and you don't really see it that often when they kind of lie down during the day. But at night, a lot of the elephant herds we come across in the thermal are like this, where they lie on their sides and they have a really good rest. And it goes to show that the entire herd will sleep. Everybody often thinks that elephants will be just kind of the little babies will lie down and there will always be a member standing up. But you can see in this particular herd, all the ellies are sleeping, and so they're all kind of tucked up together. You can actually see how the top side of them is starting to lose heat a little bit, and they're starting to get little dark patches on them. But essentially, that is the entire herd together. I think there's about, by the looks of things, probably about 7 or 8 elephants that are lying down in that area. Isn't that absolutely amazing? Right, well, we're going to leave the ellies, though, because we've got some guinea fowl that have been alarm calling not too far from where we are. It sounds like kind of down towards the Mulwati drainage. So, Seb, if I can ask you to start heading a little bit north from those elephants, and we're going to try and just do a little scan around to see what's causing the ellies to get, the guinea fowls to get so kind of bent out of shape this morning. They've made a lot of noise in the last little bit. So we're just doing a quick scan. What's that there moving just in front there? Oh, that looks like impalas. So you can see the hot spots just in the sort of left side of the frame. Those will be hot spots. Lion Katita, would the drone not pick up cold-blooded animals? No, so it needs to have some sort of heat that's coming through. I mean, I suppose if the cold-blooded animal was very, very close to you, you might get something on it, but generally, no. Now, Seb, can we just stop there and just turn north slightly just to look around and see if we can spot anything? So turn the drone picture to the left. There we go. Let's just have a little quick scan. So the cold-blooded animals are not registering enough heat with their surroundings for us to actually pick them up. So we've tested it with a few kind of lizards and things like that, and we haven't managed to see anything at all. Now, what's that down below, straight below us there, Seb? Is that a scrub here that we've got there? So you can see there's a little hot spot just on the edge of the road, and these are the kind of things that you've got to look for, is that sometimes you'll see big, bright kind of white markings like what we saw with Hosana, but sometimes little leopards, especially like little Klolamba and Tundi, if they obscured slightly, all you get is a little hot spot like you can see there. But that's probably in all likelihood is a scrub here, the way that it's moving and it's kind of positioning. Now let's just turn the camera a little bit to the north so I can just see back up towards the dam area, just see if we can't pick up anything there. That's where the guinea fowls are alarm calling, is around that section. And so sometimes, there we go, what's that now? I can't see, no, those are all antelopes that are around there and scrub hares. Let's go towards Mvubu Road, Seb, and see what we can find towards Mvubu. It looks like a lot of antelope that are moving around in that direction. There is actually a hot spot close. What is that? That's interesting. There's a very nice white spot there, but I'm not sure of what it is just yet. That could be what's causing the guinea fowl to make a bit of a noise. It's just gone into those trees now, so we're just going to try and see if we can kind of see what it is. We're just going to try and do a little bit of a loop round. It looks quite big and chunky, so maybe it could be something of interest. It certainly doesn't look antelope-like, does it, Seb?
No.
It doesn't. It looks like it could be what we are looking for. Let's just try and see, though. It might actually be buffalo or a wildebeest as well. They also are quite big. We're just trying to see. No, it is a grazing animal. You can see how it had its head down, unless, of course, it's a cat that's trying to scent mark. Now, I apologize if there's a bit of breakup. We're just trying to kind of see exactly what that is. But tricky. It looks like an antelope species. The way that it's got its head down kind of grazing. And it looks like another one that is moving off. You get nyala in this area that will show up quite big. And obviously, there's also things like kudu. Let's just watch that animal going up the bank there, Seb, and see what that is. Yeah, that's unfortunately too close to the lodge for us to fly, but could potentially be something in that area. All right, well, they are kind of heading towards the lodge, so we're not going to be able to follow that anyway, but I would imagine that this one closest to us is definitely an antelope species, and that's the thing, is often we'll see spots and we just have to do a little kind of loop around just to try and double check, but to me it looks antelope-like. It doesn't look like it's got a long tail. All right, Seb, let's carry on then towards the east. So we're going to try and head kind of back towards sort of Cheetah Cut Line area. That's where we last heard the lions roaring. It sounds like they're right up against the boundary there somewhere, and so we're going to hope that we're going to be able to pick them up. Obviously on the way we're going to take it quite slow, and we're going to try and see if we can spot any small animals that could potentially be around. So we're going to look for anything that's moving around, like a porcupine or aardvarks or anything like that, which could potentially be out at this time. Now you'll see a lot of scrub hares as we go as well, and there's a few that are there in the frame at the moment, so you'll see lots of small little white spots, and you'll actually see them hopping around as we go through, so there will be lots and lots of those guys. Now Seb's heading into an easterly direction, and we'll try and see if we can find anything out this way. Right, now in the meantime though, while we go searching and try and see if we can find some lions, let's send you all the way up to Kenya to David so he can say good morning to all of you, and sounds like he's got something that we had sleeping just now.
Jumbo Jumbo, and how is everyone doing? A warm welcome to the Mara Triangle. My name is David, and with me on camera is Bungei. We're very excited to have you on board. And having seen those elephants there from a thermal drone in the air with Tristan, now we have actual elephants that are very close to us. And I guess these are two bulls. And this is how we see them in infrared. You might wonder, your elephants look pretty different from the very elephants you have always showed us on every or on daily basis. It's because, one, it's very dark where we are. It's not 6 o'clock in East African time, so we're still in the darkness, and that's why we are using an infrared camera, and this is exactly how they would appear. Otherwise, in normal circumstances, in natural light, you would see them looking grayish. I think this is a big bull, and there are two of them, and they've been feeding, and I'm sure they're just posing, looking at us, finding out what we are up to. You see the other one to the right? And I'm sure my friends Lauren and Tristan already told you. Your questions and comments always gives us a lot of joy. And just to remind you, you may do that using hashtag SafariLive on Twitter. Hello, Mr. Eli. So in general, the bulls will always be on their own. You might see 1, 2, sometimes 3. And from a distance, even without looking closely to find out what sex they are, you can know. As much as once in a while you might get a cow with her young one on their own, but females or cows and calves will always forming groups of 5, 10, 20, sometimes 50. But the bulls will always be on their own. We have known elephants eat a lot, and as much as it's still very dark here, these two boys are still feeding. We have said anything 14, 15, sometimes up to 18 hours, elephants will spend feeding. You can see the huge body to support that body structure, or, that morphology to be kept in shape. It needs to be fed with lots of food. You can see the glare on the eye there. Jane, how are you? And that's a very good question. And you're wondering our concerns when we are so close to such big bulls. Jane, I'll tell you for a fact, we have lived with these animals for very many years. And the first thing we do, as you love your job, is to learn what we call the body language of any animal, and most of elephants. And elephants, I would say for me, Jane, to let you know, are my favorite animals. And I have learned their body language very well. So you'd recall trigger points. And if this gentleman here, Jane, would be very uncomfortable with us, the first thing you do is to stop eating. And you'll see him, like sometimes they just swing their heads, like saying, what's up? What are you up to? So once they do that, it tells you he is not very happy with you. And then the first thing we'll always do, if we're talking and maybe a bit loud, we'll talk softly. And if you still notice he is still uncomfortable with you, you back up a little bit. If he gets even more uncomfortable, you drive away. That's exactly what we do. But from the look of things here, Jane, you can see he is feeding, doing his normal things as usual. Sometimes when they're not comfortable, they flap their ears. But should you see them folding their ears against the body, Jen, that tells you they're not happy. And the thing you do is just move and go away. In general, we are very convinced that most animals do not see the infrared that we use, to spot them. But sometimes in my heart, I've thought either elephants are pretty clever and they can sense something because they're very intelligent animals, but all the other animals, I'm talking of hyenas, buffaloes, zebras, are always very comfortable with infrared. So you see, he has continued to eat, an indication that all good, and our presence doesn't bother him. Flicking the tail like that is an indication all is good. And currently we have lots of grass and very tall grass in the Mara after we had our short rains around December. So I still think we have a lot of moisture in the ground, and this grass will continue growing taller and taller. Wonderful to see an elephant in the morning, but my friend Laura in South Africa got a cat which could be looking for breakfast.
The situation here remains pretty much the same. The leopards put their head... Oh, I think that was a yawn. I think that was a big yawn from behind. But the leopards put its head up, and the impala are still in front. They keep sort of toying with the idea of walking one way to go behind the bush, but they keep coming back and they're staying on the centre of the road. And they're still grooming one another. You can see that. This one's sort of cleaning the other one's neck, which means they really are unsuspecting of this leopard that is right here next to us. So it is going to take for these impala to move into a sort of different position, different location, in order for this leopard, who I pretty much imagine is Hosanna, to make the hunt. He stayed as flat as possible. He's positioned himself really well, actually. Right to his left-hand side is a termite mound. You can see that there. And he's sort of nestled himself in a tiny little dip. So I actually believe it would be almost impossible for these impala to spot him. They would have to either hear him or see a movement, and he's clearly not moving. You're going to have to move at some point. And it's actually getting lighter and lighter. It's almost 5 o'clock now, I think. And it's starting to get light. It's very cloudy overhead, so we might not have the glorious sunrise that we normally do, but the light is definitely starting to filter through. Oh, looks like they could start moving. This is what he wants. He wants them to go in that direction behind the bush. They're just not keen to do it, are they? Impalas rely on open spaces at night time. They normally regularly sort of herd together around quarantine, which is where we are right now, because they know that they have better visuals and they're more exposed, and it's much more difficult for a predator to stalk upon them. So that's probably why they're not too keen to just go behind this bush here. Crested Moon is asking what direction is the wind. The wind moving. What direction is the wind moving? I don't even really feel a breeze. It's very still out here this morning. Very, very still. I don't even think there actually is a breeze going past, so I'm not able to tell you exactly what direction the wind is moving. But yes, Crested Moon, that's a good point to bring up. The wind, of course, will play a part as well. Depending on which way the wind is moving, it will blow smells and blow scents towards each animal depending on which way it was moving. But right now, I don't even feel a sort of gentle breeze going past. Now, on really, really windy nights, when the wind is almost howling, again, predators can use that to their advantage. Because it's so noisy, it's so disturbing. When it's really strong wind, I'm talking about. And it makes it easier for them to stalk upon the animals. They're still just staying on this road, and it's getting lighter and lighter. Yeah, they've all came back out again onto the road. Impala are smart. They are aware of their position in the food chain. They do know they have lots of predators out there, and they do know exactly how their predators operate. They do know that they will be attacked by leopards who come out of the bush, out of nowhere, so they stay in the open areas. Gabby's asking if it's in the dark, why doesn't he move closer? Well, actually, it's really not that dark now. The light has really broken through. It's not great visual for myself. This is the sort of light that humans find really, really difficult, the sort of both dusk and dawn light. But for the animals, for the impala itself, the light is coming up, which is a much greater advantage to them. This is probably what they're waiting on, more light. But previously, when it was much darker, let's just throw back 30 minutes or so, as I mentioned, the leopards rely on surprise. So if he crouches forward and they just see him or they hear him coming forward, the whole opportunity, the whole hunt here would be completely ruined. He needs to have that element of surprise, and he needs to be close by. So if you just take a look here, there's just too much distance between the leopard and the impala, and there's no cover. So we've watched leopards, particularly Hosanna, when he's sneaking up on his prey, going from bush to bush to bush. But here, it's exposed. The impala are literally standing on the middle of a road, a vehicle road, which is completely open, right on the sort of eastern side of Quarantine, which is another open clearing. And that's purpose. They do that with intent. They purposely stand in open clearings at nighttime for this exact reason. It makes it much more difficult for leopards like this one to sneak up on them. So they're very aware of exactly what happens at nighttime. So we are going to obviously stay here. I'm really not sure exactly how it's going to play out, but for now, let's go across to Toli to say good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to Safari Live. My name is Oli, and this is the morning safari. So my cam up today is James Henry. So my plan for today is to go and look for the lions, because we had them this morning, early this morning. So I hope they are still in the property. And for your questions and comments, please don't forget to type #SafariLive on Twitter or YouTube chat stream. And yes, for sure, we are coming to you live from the western flanks of the Kruger National Park in Sabi-Sands. Yes, of course, in South Africa. So
while I'm driving, I was wondering about the leopard that's being spotted in the Mara yesterday. David is so lucky to have cats, which are leopards in the Mara. It's not so easy to spot them because of the habitat there, but he's the luckiest fish. So I'll be heading to the northeast of the property, which is around Galakopan, Beffel's Hook, and the Beffel's Hook cut line, which is the main road on the east side, on the north side, I mean. So hopefully I will find the lions there. I'll find the lions because they were calling. I had a town trip yesterday, which it took me about 7 hours of shopping, and I was up and down the whole time. I was so tired. Immediately when I got to the camp, I went straight to a shower. I didn't even have a supper, and then I went straight to bed. Comment from Joe. What a very first comment for me this morning. Joe wants me to find things interesting, and I will find you the lions. But this weather is also perfect for the nocturnal species that are going back to their dens because it's still cool and the clouds are all over the place. We don't have any sunrise today. So while I'm driving and searching for the lions, let's go to the Mara with David.
No, you can take it up. Come here, so jolly.
It is Hosanna, and he's just up ahead. He got up, he stretched, he yawned, he did his cat thing, and the impala saw him straight away, and they were barking. Something like that. And there he goes. He's walking round the termite mound. You can hear them. Did you hear that? That's the impala. It sounds very throaty, very bird-like, not dog-like. I'm just going to follow him. And they keep calling. They spotted him. Game over for that. I'm not sure exactly what he is going to do now. He's having a little sniff around some tables that are here. And off he goes. Let's see if we can get round and find him. So he waited that out, and he obviously made a sort of mental decision to himself in his cat-like way that it's over. It's not going to happen, and he just rolled over, stretched and yawned, and immediately they spotted him. There he is, just in front of us. Where are you gonna go now, boy? Huh? he's walking off into the thicket. He knew that wasn't going to be successful, so it's just not worth it. Oh, there we go. Rubbing his face in the bushes. And just earlier, actually, go a little bit closer, he was spraying his urine. So he's starting to show signs of scent marking behaviour, but it's not yet behaviour of a dominant male. Viewers are asking how is Hosanna's wound. Now, I actually haven't seen it in 2 days, so I would hate to give you an update on that and be wrong. We saw him briefly yesterday, and he went off into Buffalo's Hook where we could not follow or traverse. Where have you gone, Hosanna? Yes, he went off into an area we could not follow, and I really didn't get a look at the wound. So it's been about 2 days since I've actually seen him. So let's see if we can locate him. Oh, he's here. And see if we can actually show you the wound. See, look at him sort of always putting his cheeks up to rub the branches as he walks past. So he's starting to really display these kind of behaviours. He's getting to that age where he will be soon ready to disperse. He's doing it again. Keeps just rubbing his cheeks into the branches. So he's got sebaceous glands there that produce a sebum. And that's another way that leopards do tend to scent mark. So he is starting to do these behaviours. Oh, he's off at quite a pace. He's continuing to just rub his face into the bushes. You gonna do it again? No. He's gonna continue his journey wherever he is heading. Who knows where he's off to? But if he goes flat, that would be great to all show you the wound and we can all see how it's healing. But the way he's walking and moving, I do believe his wound will really heal up quickly. It wasn't a huge wound. But unfortunately, if he keeps on the move like this, we're not really going to be able to get a good view of it. So it's fully light now. The light is up. It's a very cloudy day. There was no glorious sunrise. However, it's light now. It's daytime. He's sniffing. He's getting all these sort of olfactory updates. He can now see. So he's going about his morning routine. I expect he'll start stretching and requesting coffee soon. What are we going to do for Hosanna's birthday? I just want to also keep my eye on him at the same time as talking. I don't want to lose him. Well, I think it is definitely in a cause for a party. It's obviously going to be his birthday on the 2nd of February, which is coming up very, very, very soon. And I think it is a need for celebration for this gorgeous, gorgeous cat who has managed to survive to 3 years old when his mother did leave him pretty early on, around 13 months, which was far too early, of course. And he's survived. He made it through the tough times in his life. And of course, he's still with us and he's still here. Now, we have discussed this many a times, but we do not exactly know what is in store for Hosanna's future. So that is another reason to cause to celebrate, as we don't know exactly if he'll stick around with us or if he will completely disperse. He may stay here and take over his father's territory. There's been a lot of talk recently of Tingana's condition. Let's just see where he goes from here. Some people are a little bit concerned that Tingana's not looking so good. He's looking a bit skinny and not his usual self. He's been a bit quiet. But this could just be maybe he just didn't feel good for a little while, or he's just having a bad moment. I do believe Tingana's got a few years left in him yet, so we shouldn't worry too much. But of course, people are a little bit concerned. So Hosanna's either going to stay here and take over his father's territory, or he is going to disperse. Are you going to go right into that drainage line, boy? Can you see him, David? Oh, he's there. Okay, we can see him, but he has gone down into the drainage line, which might make it a little bit trickier for us. So we'll see what we can do, but for now, let's go up to David and Namara and see what he's up to.
Very good, Lauren, and keep close to that boy. And when you talk about birthday, I'm very excited to hear about a party for Hosanna. And Hosanna apparently was my very first leopard to see when I was in Juma. I'm sure that I have said many times, and I'll continue saying it, simply because it was my first close encounter with the leopard. He was only about 3 meters from where I was, and I was with another chap, a gentleman called James Henry, and he told me, don't worry, relax. He is fine, and so long as you behave yourself, nothing gonna go wrong. Well, what I'm saying, I just wish we would have leopards here in the Mara Triangle that we could follow and also know their birthdays. The only good thing or good news I would say, we have lion cubs here of the sausage tree pride that we have an idea when they were born. We got 4 cubs that we know for a fact they were born in December. So coming this December, we shall be celebrating 1 year for those cubs. Hopefully all the 4 will make it. So at least we have an idea. And then also, there's another female in the same pride that's called Kinky Tail, because she got a knot on her tail. She just dropped her cubs the other day. So we know in the month of January 2020, we shall be having birthday for Kinky's cubs. We haven't seen them. We do not know how many they are, but hopefully they are 4. There's a time I was doing a poll with the viewers, asking them, how many cubs do you think Kinky will get? And most of the viewers said 3 because her belly was so big. Well, we're in the Sausage Republic, as they like calling it, and we haven't seen them for the last, 2 days after they brought down a huge male buffalo. And not me or my friend Isaac came to this area yesterday, so I thought we need to come and find out how our friends are doing, and possibly, if we'll be lucky, we might have those cubs of Kinktail out. We have seen those 4 of Mitty out. Jerry, great comment there. Yes, I mean, these cubs are so sweet. You know, Gary, we already had 3. 1 from Limpy and 2 others from another female. But Mitty, when she brought those 4, it was super special for all of us. And we call that particular lioness Mitty because in our local Kiswahili language, Mitty translates to a tree. And she's one female. All of them normally like climbing trees, but this particular one loves climbing trees more than the rest because they are always 5 girls. And the last time I saw them, they had a buffalo kill, the 5 of them with their cubs, the 1 from Limpy and the 2 from the other female. And Mitty was right on top of a tree, and her belly looked so big. And I remember a viewer saying what she was trying to do is to induce labor pains, you know, so that she would get her cub, because I think a few days shortly after that, she dropped those 4 bundles of joy, which unfortunately I have not seen them myself. I've been coming here almost every other day since I came back from my leave, but I have not seen them. Most likely this could be the day I see them. It's getting a little bit lighter now. I may switch off my spotlight because with my good eyes now I can see, and any movement of a cat I'll be able to pick it up. I just leave my spotlight, my lights on for the car so that I do not drive over, say, a small little terrapin or a frog on the road. We've still got a few night jets on the way. Cool Breeze, how are you today? And always a pleasure to hear your name, and you're asking where are the cheetahs? Cool Breeze, they're still here. They are here, I can tell you. They are here somewhere. But Cool Breeze, I'm not sure you can see if Bungay got to show you or give you an idea of how tall the grass is. Bungay, just try and swing your camera either to the left or right, any direction you may want. Cool Breeze, do you see that? That is the height of the grass at the moment. I'm talking about 3 feet high. Cool Breeze, to see a cheetah walking through there, unless you're so close, believe you me, you're going to miss it. But they are still here. And this is one of the downside of looking for cheetahs when the grass is that high, because it's very difficult to spot them. And when the grass is that high, it also becomes complicated for us to drive through the grass, because you would imagine you might be driving over lots of small little terrapins or frogs or tortoises which you might kill. And it could also be dangerous to the driver or the guide, because you can easily enter in a water hole and maybe break the car or damage the car, or just drive over a boulder and of course also damage your car. So it becomes very difficult. But on lucky days, we'll meet the cheetahs walking on a road like this, or we'll see them on top of termite mounds. So what we've been doing now is to stop during the day, and you get your far lookers, your binoculars, and you just chance, because if you look carefully on the grass with some very good binoculars, you might see them walking, or from a distance you might see them on top of termite mound, and of course get close there and see the cheetah. Once in a while also, should you see hyenas or vultures circling a particular area, you can chance and guess or think there could be a kill there, and could be a cheetah. Patrick, not sure I got your question, whether when am I going to Juma or when I was there. But if the first question or my thinking is when I was in Juma last, that was last year, June, July there. But I'd be happy to go back again, Patrick, to Juma, because I would say I am missing those leopards there, Patrick. I mean, yesterday, not sure, Patrick, you're watching, I had this magnificent male leopard that I don't think I've seen in a very long time. And Patrick, I know you're a good follower or viewer of us. You must be knowing Tingana. And I compared that male leopard I saw yesterday to Tingana. He was massive, huge, and had very good light. So hopefully if I got your question, I'd be happy to go to Juma. And the only one thing that would be missing, or that would give me joy to go back there, would be the leopards. The last leopard I saw here was last year, I think around October, November, and my friends are seeing like leopards every other day. Hopefully I'll see him today, and I guessed that was the shepherd tree leopard. And if he was the one, he must be the same leopard I saw mating with a female on the New Year midnight in North America. Well, I now want to be a bit serious and look seriously for my sausage guards and their cabs. And as I do that, we'll take you back to South Africa to Oli, who have some big mammals.
Look what we have found this morning while we're on the search for the lions. We have found buffaloes, the special prey, which is the lion's favorite. Look at this one is suckling. And what's so interesting about this one suckling here, you can see the formation of the horns while they are still young. They go at the back because they have to suckle while they are on the move. Buffaloes are not territorial animals, so they are always on the move. So the young ones, they need to suckle from the back. That's why their horns, they grow pointing upwards and backwards when they're suckling. We saw a quite number of tracks on the ground while we were on search of lions, and when we saw this one. John, how do I tell between the male and the female buffalo? The one you're looking at right now, look carefully. It's on the side. Now go to the one on your left, Uncle James. Go on your, yes. You can see this one. It's a male. Look at the horns. Oh, he's running away from us. Okay, here again on the right. This one is a male because you can see the horns are big, and then where they meet, these horns where they meet, it's so strong, and that portion over there is called the boss. So it protects them from the predators, and the horns are bigger than the ones of the female. If you go there, that one, what a nice look there. This one is a female, and this other one also is a female. You can see the horns are a little bit, I can say, smaller than the male ones. In most cases, they are the ones who fights the predators with these big horns. But the female ones can fight the lions. But in most cases, the male lion, they go for the lions. And you can see the belly button there. You can see the belly brush and the belly pocket between the legs there. You can tell that is a male. And there's this female there on the other side of this male, uncle, at the back there. But I don't think we'll see the horns. Look at that. Do they prefer eating grass over leaves? The question, I think, is from Anne, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry about that. Buffaloes, they are mixed feed, bulk grazers, I can say that. They are bulk grazers, so they prefer eating grass. They eat grass. They prefer eating grass. They are grazers. But they can browse. I've seen that 2016, 12 to 16, if I'm mistaken. Between there, we had drought here in the lowveld. So I've seen buffaloes browsing, but they don't do that unless they are forced by the situation. So if there's lack of grasses, then they will go for certain leaves. And this one you can see is a female. She doesn't look very well because of the horn she lost. I think it's because of the diseases, or maybe a bacteria that went into the horn and then it affected the horn. Sam, what a nice question. How is it like, or how it feels for a buffalo when it loses its horn? I think it's more or less the same as the cattle, like domesticated cattle. I've seen people cutting horns from a cattle, then the blood comes out, but I don't know whether is it painful or not. But because the blood is coming out, I think it might be painful. Oh, this one is trying to show off this morning. And sometimes they do this because they trying to be territorial. They are not territorial animals, but they can be territorial around the females to the younger males, because this one is a male. So he's trying to show off. they smell so very good. So the smell is so nice. We can see, let's go to the left there, Uncle James. Far left here, just here. You can see this one is chewing there. It's chewing something. Maybe it's having some candy. Yes, you can see she is chewing something. This is called regurgitating. It's a cardball which is regurgitated after eating or after feeding. Then they will tend to sit down, or they will stand, and then they will regurgitate that grass they've been eating, and then they will rechew it again, then they will digest it again. So this one keeps on suckling. Hello, how are you? Are you good? You can see the color difference from the young one and the older one. This one is brown, and the older one, they tend to be black. What a nice pose over there. And there's this interesting thing that I'm looking at right now on this one, the left. Yeah, this one, just there. Let's go. Diane, sometimes I tend to be scared being around these buffaloes, but they are not so aggressive when we are in a vehicle, because they don't feel threatened. But buffaloes, remember, buffaloes are one of the big five animals, so it means they are one of the dangerous animals, and they are animals which are not easy to be hunted or dangerous to be hunted, more especially on foot. So I'm in a vehicle, I feel so safe right now, even if they can show the signs of being not comfortable, but I don't think I'm their threat. So you can see this thing I was looking at right now. You can see, you saw the white thing there. This white patches on the face, just right next to the eyes. You can see there, it's white. This thing is created by the oxpeckers. The oxpeckers, they pluck off the fur, so they leave these bare patches around here. So that when some of the viewers, they know that oxpeckers, they use fur from animals to decorate in their nest, because they use a tree hole nest. Yes, so while I'm watching what's happening here, maybe we might see the lions coming, because they always follow the buffalo. So let's go to Hosanna with Lauren.
So he's given us quite the runaround. He's on the move this morning. There we go. Just as we thought, as soon as we go live, he's going to move. And he's just making his way through the vegetation. I've got no idea what his plans are on his mind, but we are going to try and keep up with him. It's definitely been a workout for me this morning. So getting up super early and then following this very active cat around. I don't know how I'm still managing it. So he's not in a rush. He's obviously just planning his morning, seeing where he's going to go next. So you can see he's just up ahead, but the thing is he doesn't stay still, so hopefully he might lay flat on a termite mound, and then we could get a lovely view of him for you. You can see there's just a termite mound ahead, and then we can really have a look for this wound. There we go. Stop here. Pat Patrick is asking about Hosanna scent marking, and that's a really interesting question. We did kind of just touch on it earlier. He is starting to, he is starting to scent mark, but he's not a territorial dominant male yet. So it's not proper scent marking, but he is going through the motions, if you like. We do see him spraying his urine. We do see him rubbing his cheeks on the bushes that he walks past. However, we've not started to hear him do the sawing yet like his father Tingana does. So he's not quite there yet. He is going to be 3 very soon on his birthday, the 2nd of February. We're all getting ready to celebrate that. And that normally is sort of around the age where leopards start to disperse. So again, I won't repeat myself too much, but it does bring us to the question, will Hosanna stay or will he go? Pretty sure there's a song like that, but it's far too early for me to sing it. So he's off the other side of the man. So we're just going to go around a little bit and see if we can keep track of him. So yes, he's scent marking technically if you look at the action that he's doing. But because he's not a territorial male, it's not officially marking his territory. If that makes sense, Patrick. I hope it does, and I hope it answers your questions. He is one active cat today. He's sniffing everything. He's brushing his cheeks and whiskers against every bush he goes past. He's very active. No, and he's having a wee groom. I love it when leopards and lions do that. They groom themselves with their tongue. It's very sweet. And I do wonder where he is heading. Potentially could be hungry when he's on his next mission. See him sniffing the ground, getting all sorts of information through his nostrils. Connor is saying he's beautiful. He is in beauty. He's absolutely stunning. He's really filled out to be a male. We've spent some time with Tandy and Kuchapa recently, and you really can see the difference between a sort of, well, more masculine leopard than a more feminine leopard, if you like. He's really filling out to be like a man. His dewlap is starting to develop, nowhere near like his father's Tingana, who's famous for his huge dewlap, but it is starting to form. He really is turning into a man, and he is beautiful. Now, obviously, when we first seen him in the dark earlier, we just did have a view of his behind. So it was obvious that we could see he was a male, of course, from his genitals. However, it wasn't possible for me to say it was exactly Hosanna from behind. I wouldn't want to make that assumption. But as soon as he got up, you can immediately recognise him. He is very beautiful. He's got quite... stuck on a log. He's got quite characteristic facial features. Let's see if we can just get round this bumpy area to catch up with him. I can see him up ahead. And once you spend time with these leopards, all of them, we have quite a lot of leopards around here, you do start to be able to identify them. Amber's asking, do leopards tend to hunt more in the morning or at night? Well, they are opportunistic predators, so they will take any opportunity that really comes their way. Just thinking what the best way to go is here. But they are primarily nocturnal, so they do most of their hunting at night. But if an opportunity comes by during the day and they are hungry, they absolutely will go for it. We have seen leopards, especially Hosanna himself, hunt during the day. Especially smaller items like scrub hares and even potentially small baby impala lambs. So we have seen it. He just keeps walking off and off. Let's just turn off here and see exactly where he's going to go. So yes, to answer your question, they're primarily nocturnal. They're designed to hunt during the night. They see much better in night than we do. They have a special extra reflective layer on their eyes called the tapedum lucidum, and that just helps them gather more information about their surroundings in the nighttime. So we as humans do not have this, but leopards and other nocturnal predators do, and it just helps them see. They've also got very acute hearing, so they can hear extremely well, much better than we can. And of course they rely heavily on their nose, on olfactory clues around them. So they really are the perfect predator for hunting at night time. And of course leopards do rely on the surprise and the ambush, which means the cover of darkness can help do that a lot more. When it's light, animals like impala and different ants will spot them. So we've still got our eyes on Hosanna, but it's not the easiest task to follow him right now. But we are going to send you all the way up to the Mara with David, who is looking for the sausage tree cubs.
Well, well done, Lauren. Don't leave that boy again, as I told you earlier. And for so many reasons, I think very soon Hosanna will be taking the stage. And Tingana should be very careful. That boy is coming of age and he's growing very well. And Tingana might be phased out pretty soon. Well, I'm still searching for the sausage lions. And I have not been very lucky. I'm very sure at one point I'm going to see them. And you definitely notice now we're in color, we're in the natural light. My infrared camera has been switched off by Bungay. Bungay is the cameraman today. I don't have my spotlight. And I also switched off the lights on the car. I can see everything very well now. And hopefully these lions should pop up at any time and at one point now. This area where I am currently is where I saw that big male leopard yesterday. And I think he got a territory here. We were watching some birds that we call rollers. Rollers are the lilac-bird roller, which happens to be my favorite bird, is what I was watching on top of a tree. And we normally see them in ones, but yesterday morning there were two, and I was like, interesting to see two rollers together. And what happened is, as Bungay was framing them, he was like, 1 minute, I see a very big lioness on the left walking. And it turned, and I told him, no, that's not a lioness, it's a leopard. He said, no, it is a lioness, because to him she was so big, but it turned out to be a very huge male leopard. And I'm just hoping I'll be able to see him again today. And I told Bungay, well, as much as we missed the sausage pride, at least the male leopard made up for that, and it made our morning. Gemma, how are you today? And yeah, I guess your question is how long the lioness will stay at the den with the cubs. I mean, the cubs take about 7 days for them to open their eyes, and the lioness will not move those cubs out of the den if they cannot see. But every 3-5 days she keeps changing them dens. So the one, sorry, my heart was being blown off by the wind. So the one female that gave birth, Mitty, the other day, she moved the cubs for the first time when Isaac saw them. So we are assuming that could be the second move, because another friend of mine by the name of Adam, who works in Angama Lodge, he saw Mitty moving her cubs, and I think that was the first time, because she was holding them by the neck. You know how they move them by holding them by the neck. So that could have been the first move. And the second time, most likely, is when Isaac saw them. So I think after they opened their eyes, 6-7 days or so, every 5 days, they'll have to relocate them. And of course, that helps them being detected by other would-be predators like leopards or hyenas. All right, we got some ellies here as I keep pausing to think where my sausages should be. Let's have a look at this herd of elephants that are on the walk. I'm not sure where they could be going, but they're majestically walking through the red oat grass. And very big difference. If Gemma, you saw the first elephant we saw when we were in infrared, in black and white. Now we have this one in the natural color. And the first two we saw were two males, and definitely these possibly are all cows with their calves. Sure you all know, yeah, I guess they could have been going for a drink. And how sweet to see Ellie's drinking. Still pretty chilly here in the morning, and it's not even 7 o'clock Kenyan time or East African time, but elephants, because they eat a lot, they also need to drink a lot. That was a very quick drink. I think just a quick sip, and that's one area. There's a little spring there, and I think they're headed for a drink, having eaten maybe the whole night. And yes, very good to see them in a waterhole. And all of them, I'm sure, will end up there and quench their thirst. I'm guessing the first one to get there could have been the matriarch. She looks big to me. Not flapping their ears a lot because it's not very hot. And how lovely to see Alice drinking. Always led by one cow, one female who is the matriarch, and I'm sure she told them, while we have eaten a lot the whole of night, we need water because of digestion. And the calves are going right in the middle there, and they're also having a drink too. See the rocks, they're blending in with the elephants and especially the calves. And their white tusks standing out. For those of you who could be joining us now, know we do live safaris, and should you have any questions or comments, please always send them through #SafariLive. On Twitter, we'll always be able to answer you in real time. And this is the Mara Triangle in Kenya. Look at that lovely sky that Bunga is showing you. Bunga is the gentleman who is on camera this morning. And he's trying to remind me that is the eastern horizon. And seeing the sun pushing up, he knows I like calling that the golden moment. It's an elephant there that went, whoa, what a beautiful sunrise. John, good question. You're talking about elephants, some having bigger tusks than others. I'm sure you're enjoying that sunrise that Bungi has framed with that tree there. Now, that is very genetical, because in general, just like us human beings, some of us are taller than others, some of us are bigger than others, and all the animals out in the African wilderness, they've got different sizes. You have seen some ellies and especially some males having very huge tusks. So you are absolutely correct. That is genetical. So depending on the lineage they come from, you might see a particular herd will have elephants that in general they'll have bigger or longer tusks than other herds. Yes, that's very genetical. Very beautiful countryside landscape there. Bungai was very well done. So that's another ellie that's going to join the ones that are drinking. They're dragging behind from the main herd, and that happens when you see especially the boys and the cows and the calves will tend to keep them out of the herd, and to me that looks like a boy, and they'll always want the boys with them when they're mating. So you can see the size of the tusks of that particular ellie. We have seen some that are very huge. Way back, I would say, Dan, what am I talking about? 20, 30 years ago, we had ellies with very huge, long tusks. But along the way, we have lost them through poaching. Definitely the poachers, those are the elephants they would have wanted. So the ellies that had those genes are long gone. But ideally, we still have some that will carry a long tusk, but not like 20, 30 years ago. In the background there, you can see that escarpment. Okay, you want to show us that escarpment that we call the Ololo escarpment in the background there? Yes, that's the escarpment that we call the Ololo. Very famous around here. Well, I'll carry on searching for my sausage gulls. Hopefully I'll be able to see them. But I think Lauren still got eyes on Hosanna.
So our boy is being incredibly playful this now. He is jumping from bush to bush, and he just jumped on top of a fallen tree and he's been very entertaining this morning, shall we say. So he's obviously jumped now on top of this termite mound, and I'm not sure exactly what he's going to do next. He's obviously got a lot of energy, and it seems to all be play. And of course, he's going to go right down the other side. Very typical. We're going to try and follow, don't worry. He's just hopping and skipping and jumping from place to place. I'm not sure I've ever seen him this playful, actually. Don't disappear. There he is there. Let's go round, let's go round. It's not the easiest thing to catch up with him this morning. Okay. He's probably going to walk right in front of us again. He's using all his senses, I think. I think he's trying to gauge exactly what's going on around him. Look how close he is to us. Yeah, I think he could potentially still be looking for something to eat. He's not on the hunt as per se, but he's definitely scoping the landscape around him to see what's out there. See, look, he's listening. When leopards put their neck straight like that and their ears up, he's listening to what's going on around him. And due to the fact the whole landscape and vegetation here has completely changed, he can use this to his advantage. Jerry's saying Hosanna is keeping me busy this morning, and yes, he is. He really is. We've travelled quite some distance with him, and he's still going to go off. See, he's listening every step of the way. Okay. We're just going to move and try and keep up with him. I wasn't expecting quite an active morning, but I shouldn't complain. Our Lara Moore is saying this is the most beautiful cat ever. You know, we did actually touch on that yesterday, and everybody has their sort of preference on which leopard they like or which leopard they think is beautiful. He definitely is the most handsome. I'll go with you there. Let me just see exactly where he goes. But the most beautiful, oh, it's a tricky one. It's very tricky to sort of choose favourites. But I do have to say beautiful, I would say Kuchava is my most beautiful leopard. But handsome, in the most manliest ways, it's definitely Hosanna. He does have that sort of Duke appeal that he's got from his father. You can see he definitely has Chingana in him. So we're going to continue following on. This is not going to be easy. It's a bit of a bumpy road ahead, but let's see if we can keep up with this cat. Sorry, can you just repeat that, Stefan? A question from Sean. Leopards lurking on their own. Yes. Sorry, we're just going through the trees here. Bear with us. You okay? All right. See, this is not an easy feat to keep up with him this morning. Actually, we're going to go this way. Yeah, so leopards will just lurk on their own, hunt on their own, completely solitary. Probably the next proper contact that Hosanna actually has with another leopard will possibly be a female when he is ready to mate. Okay, we just got stuck on a log here. Yeah, we're going to need to reposition a bit. There is a log under our... Yeah. All good. Yes, let's go across to Tolly and see what he's up to while we try and get out of the bushes here.
You just tell me where to go.
Just there, madam. I'm still with the buffaloes, and something interesting is happening far left, right there. You can see the belly there. I've been reading a book sometime last week, and I've read that ruminants, they don't lie on their side, but this buffalo is flat on its side. And I wonder how it's doing, because I can't see its mouth. Is it regurgitating or is it just closing its mouth? About the buffalo earlier on with one horn. The horn won't grow back. It won't grow back because the way it's made, the horns, there are certain specific horns that they can grow back, and there are certain horns that they can't grow back. So the buffalo horns, if they break, they don't grow back. They stay like that. That's why that spot, it will harden enough not to hurt the buffalo. It will heal that way. So I saw a yellow-billed oxpecker on that belly of that buffalo that was lying flat. Oh, it's awake now. Oh, it's on top there. Oh, this is a red-billed oxpecker. It flew. Red-billed oxpeckers are so... I can use this word rare in this place. I normally see the red-billed one. The yellow-billed one, they hide themselves, or I can say the number of them this side of the area is low than the red ones. And there are a lot of buffaloes here with these weird horns. I'm looking at this one we saw earlier on before we went live. It had this weird formation of its horns. So let's listen around and hear the sounds, because you can hear buffaloes making a funny sound. You can see they're lying next to each other now. They're protecting each other because they're looking in different sides. So how do they handle that feeling of their member dying? I don't know whether they mourn like us humans or what they do, but if they see one of their members is been attacked or it's been killed by lions, they will react to that. They will chase off the lions. Then they will stand next to the carcass, but they will eventually leave because they can see their member is dead. Oh, this one is taking a very deep nap. Oh, he got a meal, and oh, this one is a young one. It's my first time seeing a young oxpecker. It's my first time. This is the yellow-billed oxpecker. You can see the beak there. It's red at the tip of its beak, and it's yellow at the back. So it's called a yellow-billed oxpecker compared to that one you saw earlier on. Look, it's cleaning its beak now. And then it will go and feed again because they are sanguinivores. Am I saying this right? Sanguinivores. Those are blood suckers. He's taking a very deep nap, So they're sleeping next to each other to keep warm. And then the other thing that is so interesting is that they will defecate and then they will sit or lie on top of their droppings, so they insulate their body. That's what they do to keep warm at night or during the cold part of the day. Yes, the oxpecker had a huge tick. It had a huge tick. I'm sure that one, it will feed those chicks very well today. And I think there's a lot of buffaloes with ticks around here. And you can see the flycatchers, the drongos are around. They're flying around. You know, they rely on other species to disturb the insects for them. This is quite a big herd. It's about, I can't even count, but let me guess, about 100. That is the boss I was telling you about earlier on. It is also used to fight other males during mating or for mating rights. More especially the bigger ones or the older ones will chase off the young ones because they are much bolder and stronger than them and well experienced. Look at this one, facing upwards. What a nap there. That one, is that oh, yuck. You. Can you zoom that again, Uncle, and see the oxpecker feeding on this? You. My goodness. It means they don't only feed on blood. You can see they feed on... Yeah. Let's go to the Mara with David.
Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, I think I have every reason to smile now because I have gotten one of the girls of the sausage tree pride, and even better with these bundles of joy who are having breakfast. I'm just about to confirm whether this is Mitty. Mitty is the one who got 4 cubs, and I think I'm counting 4. And she had lost one the other day, and apparently it resurfaced from the ditch it was in. Now, we have another female that's called Kingtail that I was talking about earlier. And Kingtail has a knot on her tail. And not sure, I'm trying to just age these cubs and know whether these are the cubs for Mitty or these are the cubs for Kingtail. I have not seen either, and if these are the cubs for Mitty, then I'm seeing them for the first time. Bunge, do you think this is Mitty or Kinky? So Bunge is equally not sure, because I'm not sure whether he had seen them or not. So If this female wakes up, I'm going to closely look on her tail and I'm going to know whether this is kinky or meaty, but definitely it's one of them. But either way, how lovely to see them nursing and such tiny small cubs. This is just awesome. It's just so gorgeous. You see how they're closing their eyes and like time to have breakfast. I'm very happy to do that. We can capture a bigger audience. This is just awesome to see these cubs having breakfast. Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to the Mara Triangle in Kenya. My name is David, and with me on camera is Bungei. Bungei, how are you? And we have such a very special sighting for you, where we got a lioness with her small little brand new cubs just nursing. How wonderful is this? Well, should you have any questions or any comments, please, you may ask. You may send your comments through too, because this is pretty special. We're coming to you live from the Masai Mara Triangle in Kenya, and this is our morning drive, and I'm looking at it being an early morning, and it's about 11 minutes after 7 o'clock East African Standard Time, and we're just out on a drive. And I found this particular female that belongs to a pride of lions that we call the sausage tree. The pride of lions she belongs to, it's called the sausage tree. Laurie, you say, oh, your goodness, this is cute. I couldn't. Where else do you see this? And I would say basically, this is what SafariLive is all about. We bring you perfect, wonderful moments in real time. Thank you, Laurie, for that comment. I mean, personally, I'm just blown by this. Just seeing the mother there, relaxed, and allowing the cubs just to keep nursing in such a wonderful atmosphere in this small little lager they're in. Michael, how often do they eat? Now, the mother, once she comes, or when she's just about to give birth, Michael, she'll get away from the main pride and she'll get some nice thicket, some nice private area where she's going to drop her cubs. And that particular period before she rejoins the main pride, she'll be hunting on her own. And knowing she got, for example, 4 cubs to feed, she needs to keep hunting. So I'd say every 2-3 days, she may need to get some food for herself. I mean, having carried these cubs for slightly over 3 months, and you can see how demanding, Michael, they are. They are all on the mammary glands and saying, we need breakfast, mom, we need to nurse. She needs also to eat to be able to keep the pace of these cubs. Good question, Michael. In the background, we can hear some doves just chirping and calling. How lovely is this? Anna, very good question, but I can tell you, at this age, Anna, it could be a bit tricky to tell whether they're boys or girls. But anything after about 3 weeks, or say about a month or so, we normally come close to them. And Anna will always look closely under their tails and will have an idea whether they're boys or girls. Now, in this particular pride, Anna, we got 5 girls. This is one of the 5 girls. The 2 girls, or there are rather 3 girls also that have cubs. 2 of them have bigger cubs, and the 2 that have bigger cubs, the one has 1 and the other one has 2. All those 3, Anna, they're boys, they're males. Now, these 4 here, we are yet to know whether they're boys or girls. There's another female, which I'm yet to confirm whether it's this one or not, that we call Kingtail. which we think she also dropped her young ones the other day, and we haven't seen them. We do not know how many they are, and of course we do not know the sex. Oops, that's a very good turn. What does that tell the cabs? Is it no more nursing, or you have had enough? Sorry, can we bring that question again? As we're just finding out what these cabs want to do, just bring that question again to me. So just a little bit windy. I think she just told them you're not having more. Kish, got your question. You're talking about the flies. Now, these flies here apparently do not bother either the cubs or the mother, because look at the cubs. They're just so playful, and they do not hunt, or they do not hurt the cubs. And the ones you see on the belly of the mother there, they're just perfectly fine. They'll always stay on top of the skin, suck what they can, and they never get deep. They never bite. Anything that would be of a concern to this mother or to lions in general will be ticks or mite. But these flies, they're perfectly fine. We call them lion flies. We have always known them to tag along with them. We do not know what benefit, the lions get from them, but I would say not much of a concern. Look at how playful these cubs are. Eh? Remember, for those of you who are joining us now, we are in the Mara Triangle in Kenya. And should you have any questions or comments, you may send them through. How lovely is that? She's turning around, not sure. She wants to encourage the cubs either to keep playing or to go nursing. The little bushes you see there are called orange-leafed crotons. And such a nice position she chosen to hide the cubs. Number one, it's like a small lager. A lager is a small depression, and it's definitely warm. And at this age, these cubs need a lot of warmth. How sweet is this? Full cubs, we're guessing it could be about 5 weeks now. Adam, good question. How many cubs are here? This one has done very well. In general, the gestation period of a lioness is about 3 months, or about 105 days. And they'll always drop 1 to 4 cubs. In average, 2. This one, I would say, has done very well. She got herself 4. So her name is Mitty, and she belongs to the Sausage Tree Pride, and she got herself 4 cubs. She did very well. And if you look at them carefully, they all got some little black spots, Tony, on the skin. See how playful they are, which will disappear as they grow older. Ideally now, they're just trying to strengthen their muscles. And cubs of most predators at this age, they're very playful. Cheryl, what should happen? Males, the lion, coalition of males, should a new coalition come here, for example, that have never been here, or does not own this territory, there'll be what we call infanticide, because males will always want to have their genes and their cubs, and they will, chances are, come and kill these cubs. And once that happens, the females will always go in estrus, they will mate, and of course that male will have its own gene. But as it is now, we got 2 males here that we call the Ondonyo Pike, and that's the coalition that is in charge of this area, and it has been defending this area very well and making sure that no new males come in. There was another coalition here before of 3 other males, and the main guy was called Kipuli, and we have not seen them for months. And we definitely believe that there was a takeover, and these 2 other boys that I haven't seen for the last 1 week is still in charge, and definitely they are somewhere. Mama, I'll be requesting you to rise and shine so that you can have a closer look on your tail. I can just see you flicking your tail, but I haven't seen whether it is a straight one, because kinky tail Wow, would I be able to tell the sex of this one? Not really, I think it's too young. She is trying to sharpen her teeth, and at this age they will bite anything they get. Sticks, grass, elephant poo, being very, very playful. Don't bite that. See that? That's how they sharpen or strengthen their teeth. And knowing it won't be long, maybe in the next couple of weeks before they start, or the mother start feeding them with meat. How nice is that? They're just behaving like primates, how they climb trees. Of course, you're not. It's going to be difficult for you to behave or become agile like monkeys. All right, the mom is up, so this might give us a chance to have a look at the tail, but it looks straight to me, and if it is, then I'll be convinced 100% this is Mitty. Mitty got 4 cubs, and there's another female in this pride that we call the sausage tree that we believe gave birth maybe 5, 6, 7 days ago. You can see her belly still looks big. That happens after they give birth. And that is definitely our Mitty, and how wonderful has this been to see this lioness with her 4 cubs. Well, I want to thank you, all of you, very much for having been with us, but don't go far. Keep watching. We might be sending you more notifications for other exciting experiences. And on my, on behalf of myself, David, and Bungay, very many thanks. This is just fantastic, and hopefully she might wake up and move around her cubs. Who knows? Very good. She's still joining or trying to do a bit of grimacing there. Not sure exactly why she's doing that. The cubs have gone behind Mitty. That's the name of this particular lioness here. And for those of you who could be joining us now with the Mara Triangle in Kenya, and questions, comments are always very welcome, and you can do that on Twitter, #SafariLive. Bungay, are you okay? Bungay is very excited to see these cubs this morning. He can't believe it. And I haven't seen them. The last I saw of this lioness, she was on top of a tree, and she looks like she would pop up the cubs in the next 1 minute. And she did not. Then I went for home. I went for a break at home, and when I came back, I got the news. She got herself 4 cubs. How playful they are, eh? This is very sweet, and this, I would say, has made my day. I'm not sure I'd be looking for anything else today. I'll stick here with this mother and her 4 cubs, being so very playful. I've been looking for her for the last, 4 days, and I guessed today, I woke up feeling this was my morning, and truly it has turned up the morning I would see these 4 cubs, because I've been following her since she has been pregnant for the last 3 months or so. And when I got the news she dropped the cubs, I was like, I cannot wait to see them. Another female that was talking about earlier in this pride, called Limpy, she got 2 cubs, but apparently she lost 1, and up to this day we have never known what happened to it. And there are always a few reasons for females to lose cubs, and either when the females abandon their young ones, or maybe out of starvation, or maybe sometimes from other predators like leopards or hyenas. That happens a lot. And I'll stick around with this lioness here called Mitty, hoping the other lioness will come and join her. And in the meantime, I'll take you to Oli and find out what he is up to.
there's a squirrel. It was alarming, and then we thought maybe we'll find or see something interesting here. But you know, squirrels sometimes they just alarm for other squirrels, or they can alarm for fun. I think that's what normally. This one is feeding. Is busy. He's having this busy morning. Is that your house? I think so. So our plan for this morning was to go and look for lions, and we thought that the squirrel might tell us where the lions were, because normally lions, they follow the head of buffaloes. So the buffaloes are at the back. We left them. Yes, I also love the squirrel. The way it's so active this morning. You can see it's enjoying the weather. It's looking forward to bask in the sunlight. And so while we are on the search of lions, I must at all times listen to the surrounding. Can hear the birds. The cicadas are quiet this morning. And I can see the bird. Oh, it's far. It's out of our view. Dr. Rob, what a nice question there. You want to know why squirrels don't have a skinny or tiny tail. They have this fairy tail because they need to protect themselves from, especially the habitat they live in and the nest they live in. They need to warm up themselves, and then you can see now he's cleaning. He's lying on it to keep them warm. And this fur is not so thick to that point that it gets so hot when it's hot like summer days. But this fur, it's so long and it's so, I want this word. It's not thick to that the way it looks like. You can say maybe it's feeling hot right now, but it also acts as an insulator. I can put it, not an insulator, but it's its cooling system. You know, the ground squirrels we find, we don't find the ground squirrels around here. We only find these tree squirrels. The ground squirrels have this thicker tail than that one, because while they are feeding, they have to lift up that tail so that it acts as an umbrella, because they are from the deserted areas. They are very hot areas, so that's why they have this big cover of their tail. So I'm driving forward now because I'm not lucky yet. Hopefully, I will find something. These lions, they sounded very far, but hopefully I'll find them. So while I'm driving, let's go to my friend in the Mara, which is David Katango Gitu.
Well, keep driving, because it's by driving you'll bump into something unexpected. And I thought I will not drive myself, and I will sit here and enjoy these cabs. Sorry, I'm more luckier than you, and these cabs still continue playing, and they're biting every wood, every stick, every grass they get, which is very typical early mornings like this for, cabs of most predators to be very active. Excuse me. For those of you who could be joining us now, these calves belong to one female, a member of the Sausage Tree Pride in the Mara Triangle in Kenya. And I guess they could be about 5 weeks old, we think. And their mother is called Miti. Miti translates to in our local language, Swahili, or Kiswahili translates to tree, because the mother have always been known to love climbing trees. Hopefully these calves also will join that kind of character from their mother. You can see all the energy they got. I do not know whether I would ask for anything better this morning. David, very good question. Now, there was a bit of concern here, David, and you're asking if Miti rejects the fourth cub, what would happen? We all know lions or lionesses, especially, are very social. At the moment, David, the fourth cub is here, and I'm sure you also know we share the same name. But I've been looking at her carefully. She doesn't look as strong as the other four, or rather as the other three. And not sure whether her problems started the day she was abandoned or she was left behind in the ditch or not. Or maybe there was a possibility she would have been born with some kind of defect. I mean, who knows? We are yet to verify and know that. So what I'm thinking is, should Miti reject that cub, which I highly doubt, and should that happen, definitely the other, lionesses will take her on board. Lions are very social. They will always circle indiscriminately. It doesn't matter who is circling from them. So every female will just circle any cub. I just want to back up a little bit. That's it. So just want to reposition ourselves, David, so that we can give you a better view. I am very convinced, David, that Miti will keep all the four, and including the one that looks a little bit weak. So chances of her, rejecting the fourth cub, that's good, to the left, I would say they're very minimal. They're very minimal. But we have seen, that's good. All right. We have seen many times, lionesses abandoning, their cubs, and that is one of the, one of the reasons how lionesses have lost their young ones. I think it's time for second breakfast again. Most of them are going for second helping, and I think after a lot of jumping around and playing around, they have gone back to nurse. And look at that. Very good job, Bugay. Still like to know which is the fourth cub. Now, once she comes in the frame, and I guess that's the fourth cub, yes. This is the fourth cub, that we think, if you look at her carefully and you look at the other three, you'll notice they're a little different. Even from the coat, she looks a little darker, she looks a little smallish, she looks like to be struggling. Even when they're playing, she's not as active as the other three. So, this is the fourth cub that we are all concerned about. She doesn't look to be in good shape, to be in good spirit. Like, look at that one there to the left. Look at the coat, very different. See that? Much brighter, much solid, much plump, more active, full of life, full of spirit. And if you can see both of them now, look at the coats and see this one that is nursing at the moment is a little darker. I have watched her playing a few minutes ago, and you see she is not on the same speed with the other three. You see, this one here is full of energy. She's playing on her own, but she is like, in her own world. You see that? Sticks pulling things there. And you can see that she has got lots of spirit. Are you playing with the mother's tail? Most likely, yes. I think she's just trying to pull the mother's tail, and I'm not sure how. Yeah, that's the mother's tail she's trying to pull. Look at that. Very playful she is, eh? So the fourth cub is the one that is nursing, just coming back to your question. And I think she needs to, if she keeps nursing that way, I'm very convinced she's going to catch up with the other three. Otherwise, we have seen sometimes not all of them will make it to adulthood. And, a few reasons, as I was saying earlier, abandonment is one of them, when the mothers abandon them. Starvation is another reason for them not to make it. Sometimes also predation from other animals like leopards or hyenas. But hopefully this particular one will make it. The fact that now she reunited with the mother, I got a feeling she'll definitely make it. This is so sweet. And the nurse, as the wind is just blowing some cool breeze to us and to the mother and the cubs. Chris, I'll tell you, my friend Isaac told me the other day, I'm talking of 4 days ago, that he saw this female with these cubs with the rest of the pride. So I think after about 3 going to 4 weeks, they had already been introduced to the main pride. And chances are, I got a feeling she pulled them back to be on their own. But Isaac saw them a week ago together with the pride, and I think they were on a kill as much as they're still too young to be able to chew any meat. They have, I think, been already introduced to the pride. Maybe not formally. They may have to be reintroduced again maybe in the next couple of days. Now look at those two and look at the shape, look at the coats they got. It's very different from the fourth one, which is that dark one there. You see that one there? I guess that's the fourth one that had disappeared. Look at her walking, the posture, the moves, her motion is not as good as, I would say, her mobility is not as good as the other three. And she's also struggling to reach the mammary glands. So the other three are very easily getting there and grabbing themselves, some milk. And she seems to struggle even to locate a gland for herself to nurse on. This is super cool, pretty special. And everything at the moment is very quiet. So not sure where the other 4 girls are. But chances are this one, she may want to remain in the thickets on her own until she's convinced that her cubs are fully grown, solid, and ready to go out. Diane, very good to get another question from you. And you're asking, do lion cubs fight like hyena cubs? Now, hyena cubs will always have issues among themselves in what we call siblicide. And in general, hyenas will get 2 cubs and one will tend to be dominant than the other. If it happens to be a female, chances are the females always tend to win. And they fight over, nursing, and sometimes they end up even killing each other. Now, lion cubs do not do that. Not that I know of. Just to answer your question, I have not heard of lion cubs fighting, say, over, nursing rights or getting better attention from mama. So, lion cubs do not behave like the cubbies from the hyenas. We haven't seen siblicide among the lion cubs. If anything, Jan, I would say, is only infanticide. So should, for example, a new coalition of males come and there's a takeover in this particular territory, which is being managed at the moment by 2 males that are called the Ondonyo Pike, yes, there would be a concern there. And the new owners of this particular area will definitely kill these cubs. As much as, the mothers will always do anything they can to defend them And once in a while, we have seen females ganging up together against new males to protect their cubs. Way back, I once saw a very interesting scenario in another national park where we had, a male lion trying to take over a coalition, and the female fought fearlessly to defend her two cubs, and I think she won. Well, I'm staying here with my little cubs nursing. I think Lauren got a feathered friend in South Africa.
Look at its breast. I don't know.
So we did manage to lose our spotted cat into the thicket, and we tried our hardest to follow him for a little while, but as you saw, he was full of energy and a little bit too quick through the bush for us. So we're just taking a look at this little bird here and discussing exactly which bird this could be. So I believe it is a pigeon. Obviously, we have plenty of pigeons around the UK. I think any city is overcrowded with its pigeon population, but they aren't quite as beautiful as this little bird that we have on the top of the tree here. Now, it looks to me like it could be an African green pigeon, but they always have their yellow leg feathers, so I'm just trying to see if it is yellow. Let me have a look through my binoculars, bear with me. Yes, so it does have those yellow leg feathers. So I think we have here a beautiful African green pigeon. There's actually a big bird coming closely in the background. Could be Batelier, just from the way that it is moving. Look at that, just hovering in the background. Yes, with the long wings and the short tail, and it slightly wobbles when it flies. That's the only way I can describe it. It doesn't look stable up there. That's how you know that it is a Batelier. Now, of course, they are stable, but they always look like they're wobbling from side to side, and that's the characteristic that gives it away that it's a Batelier, just sort of hovering in the distance, riding the thermal right behind that pigeon. What a lovely view that is. So Bateliers, as they get older, they lose their tail. They actually have quite a long tail as a juvenile, believe it or not, but when they get older, they lose that. So even their Latin name stands for the fact that they have marvellous face, no tail. And that's a giveaway that you know it's a Batelier. Look how short the tail is. And this is distinctly designed so they can fly low, they can ride the thermal low, and they can try to get into a potential carcass or food source before the others come, before the bigger birds such as the vultures come in. So that's specifically why the Batelier is designed like that. There's two little birdies for our drive today as we continue on. Now, we were hoping Mr. Hosanna was going to pop back out again, but that cat is on a mission of his own. So we just decided to continue to drive onwards. Onwards and quite literally upwards as we were looking at the birds. Now, it's been quite a while. I would say it's been quite a few days that we have actually had blue sky like this in the morning. It's not completely blue, there is still clouds, but it's definitely been a good few days since we've had lovely blue sky like this. And I'm missing my sun fix, so it needs to get sunny soon. You see that? There's blue sky there, as well as clouds. So it looks like it's going to be a much warmer day than it has been the past few days. The rain was not pleasant. I did not like it. So we're driving towards the area of the dam cam area, Vuatella Dam, so we can see exactly what is happening near the water hole. It's always good to check out the water holes and see if any animals are coming for their morning drink. We did actually think that Hosanna was heading for a potential drink near Treehouse, so we went down that way, but it didn't look like that was his plan after all. It was our guess. We're trying to think like a leopard, but unfortunately I've obviously not quite mastered the leopard brain just quite yet. But obviously we found him thank you to the drone and the thermal cameras, and it was the perfect find. during the night, you could easily drive past the leopard, easily. It's not easy to spot things with the spotlight. So of course, with the assistance of the drone and the thermal camera, we were able to pick up the body heat and realise it was a leopard. What a find. So we're still going to head in the direction of the waterhole and see what is there in case we get lucky. But for now, let's go across to Dolly and see what he's up to.
Lauren, what a beautiful bird. I'm also having a beautiful bird here. There. It's gone. That was a... let me show you, because I'm on my way to Bethelshoek Dam. So that was a bunting. So let me quickly show you this bunting that we saw. 40, 82, 42. So we have quite a few number of buntings. Yesterday we saw a cinnamon breasted bunting. We saw a golden, not a golden breasted bunting, yes. 42. Yes, 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 yes. We have these buntings over here. They are easily recognizable by their stripes and their faces, mostly black and white. So we have the golden breasted bunting, which is number 4. This one is golden. It's easily recognized by its golden breast or chest. Then we have the cinnamon breasted bunting. One we saw, it's number 3, is this one, but it looks more colorful than here in this book. Then it's done. So let's move forward. We saw tracks, but I didn't manage to check whether they are fresh or not, because it's been raining and the substrate is so difficult to check whether the tracks are fresh or not. So we'll keep our luck, and I'm still positive that we might find some lions. They normally asleep around this time. They will call for last time around 5 a.m. in the morning, and then they will go for their sleep. And the sun is coming out. You can see here's a bird there. Let's try that one. There. You see it? You see it there? Oh, these birds are running away from us this morning.
It is. It's there.
Oh. What? Hello. This looks like a weaver. Yeah, it is a weaver. And the weavers, they look so... they can be so difficult sometimes, because, you know, when they are out of breeding season and when they're on breeding season, the color changes. So this one, it looks more like a... because it doesn't have a black head, it's more like a speckled weaver. But let me check that. Can hear the birds are crazy this morning. That's a black-headed oriole. You hear that? So while I'm searching for this bird that I've just seen, this yellow bird, let's go to the other side of the reserve.
Huyo naitana, si ndio? Nimeona wawili nyuma. Huyo unaona ngapi huko mbele?
Watatu washapanda hivyo.
Aha, hata ndio anatokea mama.
Kuna moja nyuma hapa.
Kuna hapa mama mbele yetu. Huyo kubaki nyuma ndio akupotea, si ndio?
Sorry about that, we do apologise. Now, I do believe you have been shown buffalo this morning, but unfortunately we have no choice. We cannot go any further. This is the definition of traffic in the bush. Now, there's a lot of them, and this appears to be a mixed herd. I think Toli showed you earlier how to tell the difference between male and female. So I can spot males and females here and some young ones. So unfortunately, there's absolutely no chance of us moving for some time yet. We have a complete roadblock. And it's definitely not a roadblock to complain about. Just look at them. There's something very endearing and also amusing about buffalo. They are known for their ferocious tempers, but I think when a buffalo looks at you head on, that facial expression is just classic. So if we go straight ahead, you can see the young ones. The very, very young buffalo here. So normally they will travel in the centre of the herd if they can. So they are protected by the adults on all sides. Because unfortunately, these guys are the perfect prey for the lions, and the Nkuhuma Pride and Avoca males are around. We spotted them yesterday, although they were not doing very much. They are around. We heard them roaring in the night, and buffalo, of course, are the perfect buffet choice for the lions. So these guys are travelling in quite a large size herd. Look at their facial expression. And that will help protect them. The larger the numbers that they sort of travel in, there is more protection. Good morning. I don't know why it makes me laugh so much. Anyway, so the young ones tend to stay in the middle of the herd if they can, so they are protected by the adults on all sides, because if they were to trail at the back, for example, the young ones, they would be ideally targeted by lions. Now, I don't believe a leopard like Hosanna would go for a buffalo. It's far too big and equipped with major horns. Look at that. Getting annoyed by the red-billed oxpeckers there. But if there was a weak or injured buffalo at the back, or potentially the young ones, then of course a leopard like Hosanna would go for a very small buffalo. But it would have to be a very young one. Otherwise, these guys would be quite a challenge for a leopard. So their main prey is indeed the lions. And it would take some strength to take down an animal like this. They're having a very good look at us. Good morning. I often wonder what goes through their head when they're staring at us like this. Mario was asking about the dominant male within the herds, and there will be amongst the males. So as I mentioned, this is a mixed herd. You've got the young, you've probably got the old, you've got males and females. And it's quite structured within buffalo's herd, so they tend to move from water point to water point, if you like. They're highly water dependent, so their daily movements will involve moving from water source to water source. And the way it's tend to be structured is that the more dominant males will indeed be at the front of the herd, and this is the reason being that they will get the sort of fresh pastures or grass that has not been trampled upon. So the more dominant you are, the best resources you get. Now, if you're following behind some males, for example, you're going to end up getting grass that's already been eaten or trampled on. So you normally tend to find the dominant males up at the front or just in the sort of centre front. But right now there's just buffalo everywhere. And let's just show, there's a buffalo over the termite mound here. Let's take a quick look at that one. It's adorable. And while we continue to amuse ourselves with these buffalo, we will send you up to the Mara and see exactly what David's got.
Well, we're still here, and Mitty has come out from where she was hiding, and she has come in a more open place. We want to locate you in a better place for us to see her and her four cubs, because they are now all out of the thickets. And let's give you a better position of her and her young ones. Bungay, tell me where you're happy. Keep going, Bungay. Keep going. Are you happy there? Oh, keep going. All right. When you can just hear them calling, going, meow, meow, meow. I hope you can just hear those cubs calling Mama. One of the cubs, and I think this is the slower one of the four. Now this is a stronger one. How wonderful is this? For those of you who could be joining us now, this is part of the Sausage Tree Pride, and one of the females of that pride got four cubs, and her name is Mitty, and these are her four beautiful bundles of joy that we think could be about 5 going to 6 weeks now in age. The mother brought them out to get a bit of sun. They have been hiding in some thickets, and they just popped up, and that is the mother there, and her name is Mitty. She's just looking at what she carried for over 3 months, and congratulating herself, saying she did a very good job. Remember, should you have any questions or comments, you can always send them to #SafariLive on Twitter. Just get some nice breeze here. And this has been my morning. I've been following this particular pride for quite some time, and about a month ago or so, I went home for my leave, and when I left, she was big and had a big belly, and these are the cubs that she was carrying. And at one point I thought she might even have 6, because she looked so big. See her going back to, I think, their den, where they have always been hidden by the mama. And one time I saw her going on top of a tree, and having said her name is Mitty, is because she loves climbing trees. And even when she was just very close to giving birth, she did not stop going on top of trees. And personally, I think she did very well. To have 4 cubs is quite something. Now, the other day of the 4, one had mysteriously disappeared for like 2 or 3 days, and then she showed up, which was very good news to all of us. But looking at the one that had disappeared, comparing her to the other 3, she doesn't look to be in very good shape. She looks a little smallish, and she is also a bit sluggish when it comes to movement, unlike the other 3. But I think because she got reunited with Mama there, who is just having a nap, I'm sure she's going to catch up and become equally playful and equally big. This has made my day. Look at her belly. She looks to have, very well, to be in good shape. She must have eaten at one point, and which is a good sign that she's being able to get food for herself to be able to nurse her cubs. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we cannot appreciate the day for you having been with us today. And my colleagues in South Africa, Lauren and Zoli, did a very good job. And from all of us, we thank you. Hoping to see you again this afternoon. Look after yourselves. And from everybody here, goodbye.